Irvingman! Jimmy is on assignment to interview a lady who takes in stray cats.
This is my little family. This is Topsy, Flopsy, Mopsy, and Popsy, and Twinkles, and Tinkles, and Wrinkles, and Sam.
Mrs. Peabody there rattled off 8 names while we see 7 cats. I think the 8th one is climbing up the inside of Jimmy's pant leg.
The chief, Mr. White, wants me to write a feature article on how and why you've spent $5 million on the care and feeding of alley cats.
That's exactly the point, Mr. Peabody.
No, you're Miss Peabody. I'm Mr. Olsen.
I was about to say I think she's a bit senile, but she's rich. Only poor people get dementia. Rich people become eccentric. She says that's the whole point. An alley is no place for a cat. You were straight. What do you think of that? She agrees the studio is way better than an alley. Mrs. Peabody has been doing this for over 50 years, and she has a record of every cat she's ever taken in. It's all in her safe.
Don't you keep this safe locked?
Oh, mercy, no, I could never remember the combination.
So it's a very heavy shelf then. While Jimmy's looking over the papers and asking if he can take some with him, we see one of the cats climb in the safe, something they've probably all done many times without issues.
Oh, mercy, the safe's locked.
Now we have an issue. She has no idea what the combination is or even where she might have written it down. Why is this lady's family allowing her to live by herself? At the very least, have her hire a live-in caretaker. It's not like she can't afford it. She'll go off to try and find the combination before the kitty suffocates. Jimmy doesn't know what else to do, so he calls the planet and asks Clark Kent to get hold of Superman.
Oh, golly, Superman, I'd rather see you than Jimmy Valentine right now.
I can see why. Jimmy, here.
Handing it to Jimmy was a nice touch. The kitty is safe, it'll never happen again, at least not with that safe, and Superman heads out. Mrs. Peabody is back, and she hasn't been able to find the combination. But it doesn't matter now. Jimmy rescued her kitty.
No, that's just it. I didn't save her. I couldn't have pulled that door off the safe.
Oh, don't be modest, Mr. Gallagher. I won't listen to another word.
While he's wondering who Mr. Gallagher is, she drops another bomb.
It's deeds that count, young man. And just to show my appreciation, I'm going to give you $1 million.
Now, that would be very nice, except $1 million?
It'll be in your name, in the Metropolis National Bank, within an hour.
Remember how I said rich people don't get crazy, they get eccentric?
Hi, Jimmy.
Well, how does it feel to be a millionaire?
Well, I tell you, Miss Lane, it feels kind of, nice. Here, have a cigar, Mr. Kent.
I don't smoke, Jimmy.
You have one, Miss Lane?
I gave up cigars years ago.
Jimmy's no exception. This thing went to his head at warp speed. Next thing we know, he's quitting his job, getting a new apartment, and otherwise throwing money around like the kid in Blank Check. They're at similar maturity levels, methinks, and he's determined to give somebody a cigar. That's a thing rich people do, especially when what they really want to do is show off their solid gold lighter. Remember, eccentric, not crazy.
How do you do, sir? I'm Herbert.
No, I don't want any.
Oh, no, sir. I'm the gentleman's gentleman you advertise for in the newspapers.
Oh, yes. Won't you come in, Herbert?
Thank you, sir. Oh, allow me, sir.
Oh yeah, he also hired a butler. Herbert offers his credentials, but Jimmy says, I'm a good judge of character, you'll do. Because that's not the kind of thing that'll bite him in the butt before he knows it, no sirree. As the gentleman's gentleman puts it, Herbert is here and he's already on the job.
Oh, is, Mr. Olsen in?
I'm sorry, sir. Mr. Olsen is resting.
It's all right, Herbert. Let Mr. Kent enter.
Oh, may I? Clark isn't too sure about Herbert, but Jimmy brushes all his concerns aside while he shows off all his expensive stuff. Clark keeps trying to talk to Jimmy about watching out for people who want to separate him from his money, but the interruptions never seem to stop.
It's mine, all mine.
Snowshoes?
Sure. I want to be prepared for any emergency.
Jimmy, they don't fit.
He's just getting started. We'll skip the trivial stuff and go straight to the grand prize.
Jimmy, it hasn't even rained. When are you expecting to flood?
Look, mister, do me a favor, huh? If you ever go shopping again, try another store.
If his apartment ever floods or has a blizzard, he's prepared. Clark is a little speechless. Speaking of people who want to turn Jimmy back into a working stiff, let's meet Big George and Stacy.
Time to go, Stacy.
I ain't through rearranging the dust yet.
It'll keep. Now get going.
Sure, boss. Don't worry, Big George. Olsen's million is as good as in our bag. Here. Get going. Okay.
Big George is a bit of an inside joke. His name really was George E. Stone to be exact, and he was all of 5'3". He started out as a vaudeville dancer, but he made his size and general appearance work for him when he moved into acting. He played all kinds of shady characters in I don't know how many movies and was in constant demand. Unfortunately, he was plagued with ill health all through his career and missed a lot of opportunities because one illness or another had him sidelined at the time. Toward the end of his life, he went almost totally blind, but even so, his friend Raymond Burr, best known at the time as detective lawyer Perry Mason, got him steady work on his show as a court reporter. It was a good fit because he didn't stand out a lot and all he had to do was sit there and pretend he was typing. Everybody needs a friend like that. Stacy, on the other hand, is an old friend. We've seen Richard Reeves 3 times before on this show, and we'll see him again. I've talked about him elsewhere, so if you want to know more about him, you'll just have to watch more adventures of Irvingman. Aw, darn.
Now, Clark, what was it you wanted to speak to me about before?
Well, Jimmy, you're a millionaire now, and you have to be more careful of strangers, even people like Herbert.
Clark, sometimes I think you'd be suspicious even of Superman himself.
Well, I happen to know Superman a little bit better than I know Herbert.
And once again, before Clark can follow up, the doorbell rings. Can't get a moment's peace around this place.
Yes, sir.
Want to talk to Mr. Olsen.
Your name, sir?
Stacy Tracy.
Sometimes the jokes write themselves. It's no wonder he became a criminal. His parents were cruel. Stacy Tracy has the invention people have been searching for ever since humans figured out how to dig shiny rocks out of the dirt.
This drawer is empty, right?
Empty. Right.
Now, I have here a bottle of genuine seawater from the sea.
That's the best place to get it from, I suppose.
It has to be genuine seawater. Generics and house brands won't work. Only the genuine name brand. He puts the water in the machine with a couple of drops of his secret formula, turns it on, it flashes some lights and emits a couple of small explosions, and voila!
It's the secret of the ages. Gold. Gold from seawater.
Mr. Kent, look, Mr. Kent, he did it! He did it!
Just what do you expect Mr. Olsen here to do about this?
$50,000. That's all I need to build a huge converter.
Jimmy's convinced. Clark not so much, and Herbert is downright angry.
You'll pardon the expression, sir. This here gentleman is attempting to take you over.
I resent that.
Undoubtedly.
Hey, let go of me.
You see? Small bag of imitation gold flakes, which he cleverly drops into the drawer.
Jimmy says, you know what to do, and Herbert does.
Hey, you can't do this to me. Hey, wait a minute. You can't do this to me. Hey, let go. Let go.
Why am I suddenly reminded of Mighty Mouse? Based on their sizes, I'd get the feeling Stacy could pick Herbert up and use him to dust the ceiling. Maybe there's more to Herbert than we thought. Jimmy says, from now on, I run everything past Herbert. He's my main man.
Hello, Big George.
Don't hello me. How did it go?
What's the matter? Don't you have any confidence in me?
Confidence I got in myself. For you, I got the same question. Now, how did it go?
Perfect, Big George. Just perfect.
Huh? Either he doesn't want Big George to know he lost his fancy machine, or that was a setup. I find myself wondering what they would have done if Jimmy had told Herbert not to let him in. Jimmy drives Clark back to the planet and brings Lois home to see his new digs. But he won't get a chance. Herbert has some disturbing news.
But Superman was here, sir.
Superman here?
Yes, ma'am. And he left this for you, sir.
Well, for heaven's sakes, open it.
Dear Jim, get whatever is left of the $1 million in cash, and meet me at the last house on Valley Street in Pinehurst. Hurry, there's no time to lose.
Okay, you two, think. Is this in character for Superman? They won't think. They'll do as Superman says and Herbert will drive them. Lois calls the planet and leaves a message for Clark telling him they've gone to Pinehurst to meet Superman.
Come in. You're late.
Where's Superman? We're supposed to meet him here.
There's been a little slip-up, kid.
Slip-up?
Yeah.
Hey, wait a minute. That's the guy that tried to sell me the gold machine. Come on, Miss Lane, we're getting out of here.
Not yet, I'm sorry.
Jimmy's carrying a lockbox and Herbert is sure the money is in it. He watched Jimmy go into the bank and get it.
Give me the key, kid.
I left the key at the bank where I picked up the strong box. I figured if this thing were really on the level, Superman could rip the lock open.
So since Superman isn't here, you clowns are on your own. Have fun figuring it out. We'll just step out for a cigar. No luck. While Big George and Stacy, Tracy, I can't help but love those names, go to work on the box, Herbert takes Lois and Jimmy into a lead-lined room and locks them in. So even if Superman knew the area they're in, he wouldn't be able to see them.
You ought to be ashamed of yourself, taking advantage of a brainless boy.
Miss Lane, please.
Best line of the season so far. Thing is, Clark has gotten the message, so he does know the area they're in, and Superman is flying around Pinehurst right now trying to find them. And he's not too bright, because you'd think if there's a great big room he can't see into, that might raise some suspicions in his mind.
Wait a minute, Miss Lane. Do you hear something?
It's Superman. He's somewhere near.
If they can signal him, he can save them. That's why they're standing next to an air vent with a convenient chain-operated flue. All they need is a fire, and they can send an SOS smoke signal.
But golly, Miss Lane, we don't have anything to burn. Even my shirt's wet.
Do you remember what happened at the bank, Jim? Just to play it safe, we left the money box empty, and it's all in here.
Yes, she's saying what you think she's saying. It won't do you any good if your mummy's in here for the next 100 years or so, and it's the only thing you might be able to set on fire with your fancy gold lighter. And to get a fire big enough, I'm afraid it all has to go.
Doc, Doc, Doc.
Upstairs, Big George and the others have gotten the box open and they're not happy about what they've found.
Oh, Superman, are we glad to see you?
Thanks for the smoke signal. Hiawatha himself couldn't have done any better.
Superman! Those are the guys!
Superman will wrap them up, Jimmy will beg and grovel and get his job back, and Perry will scream, "Don't call me Chief!" at him yet again. You know what part of this I found least believable? The little old lady giving him $1 million. Actually, the little old lady in general. Even if she's so rich she can just hand someone $1 million and never feel the pinch, if she has any family at all, they should be insisting that she has a nurse or someone to look after her, since at times she can't seem to remember her own name. If her mental state has degraded this far, by now someone would also be in charge of her finances and she wouldn't be able to do anything like handing out $1 million on a whim. That's the part I found unbelievable. Everything else, especially Jimmy losing his marbles and buying a rowboat for the living room, yeah, I have no problem with that. It's exactly what he would do. And assuming he didn't have to burn the rest of it, knowing Jimmy, he'd make sure his mom was set for life too. He's a good boy. Thanks for watching, kids. And remember, clicking that like button is cool. Subscribing is even cooler. Leaving a comment is as cool as the coolest person you know. And becoming a patron makes you almost just like Superman. So don't hesitate. Do it today. Until next time.